Hey, how you doing, Spuds? My name is the MisterDorito, and welcome back to some more Smite. We're finishing the patch notes finally. um, so yeah, I was gonna go over the items, but first I wanted to go talk about the god changes. This one's a little bit quicker. Um, so yeah, a couple of things that they wanted to change. Some of them really great, some of them not so great. But yeah, let's start out with Upwash. They reduced the restoration of the maximum health when you threw out zombies and they just hit the ground to 5% maximum health. Not bad, but the main thing was just Undead Surge, where they reduced the slow from just 40% flat to a scaling one, which is what everybody have been wanting. Everybody and their mother have been wanting for a while on Upwash, which is great. I'm glad that's coming into Season 3 finally. He's not going to be the slow king or whatever, so especially with like Gem of Isolation. I just had a game against an Opwash with Gem of Isolation, and it was the worst thing ever. So thankfully they're tuning that down. Amaterasu, it's nothing crazy, it just plays a distinct bell chime noise just to let you know which strike is each. Just like with Guan Yu, old Guan Yu, when he had Dazzling Offensive, it was actually like you would know which strike you're on. Each strike had a different nice sounding like effect. It was the coolest ultimate ever, like to me, like back then, because it was like it sounded awesome and you felt really powerful. Amaterasu's ult right now just feels really lame. I wish that they could have done something to make it actually a dazzling offensive. But enough complaining on art and animations by me. Let's keep looking at this. So Ao Kuang, I didn't know that Ao Kuang was suffering from the last nerf. I mean, I guess we haven't seen him a lot, but I didn't think he was really underpowered from the last time I saw him. So they increased all of his scaling. I think the only okay one is the one that I might be more scared of is just 1.7 to 2.4 for the increased magical in-hand scaling per level. But it's not really gonna, it's not so, like, these scaling things aren't really gonna help him that much. So I'm not too scared about Ao Kuang. With the items though, with all the magical items that are coming out, I am scared of Ao Kuang. Anyway, Artemis, this was a great change. They decreased the amount of time it takes for Tusky to select a new target. It used to be 1.5 seconds, but now it's 0.5 seconds. So instead of him moseying along to, or like, taking a break after hitting one god, he's actually gonna charge in and do his job like he's supposed to. So that's nice. I don't know if that's gonna give her like a lot of viability, because the cons to Artemis was that her wave clear is definitely not as good as other AD carries that you see in the meta, such as Neith, Rom, Apollo 2, I guess. Those guys have a lot of wave clear, especially when they nerfed her, like, they increased her mana usage on the Vengeful Assault or something and nerfed her damage. Couple that with her immobility. She doesn't have a dash like Neith, Rom, or Apollo. She's better. She's much better, which is great, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna be game changing where she's just gonna be in the meta. She's definitely not OP by any standards. Bellona, all they did was nerf her bonus slam damage for the bludgeon, and then reduced the disarm thing. Finally, it made it scale a little bit better, only to 2.2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Starting at 1.4. That's good. It's an okay start, but many people have been saying that if you nerf like her ult, because her ult is like on, I think it was a 70-second cooldown, and that's crazy. That's without cooldowns. Maybe some of her other maybe some of her actual damage in her kit, then that would make her much more balanced. But they haven't touched it yet. This is high-res being high-res. Anyway, Bakasura. They changed, what is it? They increased his base power scaling only from 36 to 38. Not really good. They only increased the protection buff that he gets whenever he eats a minion from 5 to 10 seconds. That's great. And they reduced the cooldown to only 15 seconds at all ranks, which is nice. And the mana cost to 55. But Bakasura is still not. I don't think he's gonna be used any more than he has before. You're definitely not gonna see him in competitive from these changes. It's not any game changing thing. So Chiron, herbal medicine, the healings, whenever you had, I think, like you have 3 stacks, and then you just if you used like 3 abilities, then you know they all stack together, so you get a much better heal. Instead, it just refreshes the duration now, which is nice. And then they increased the cooldown for Masterful Shot to 16. Okay, I don't know how good Chiron is. We did see him in SWC, so I guess he's still more on the strong side. I don't know how he'll be, or how Hunters will be in the next season. I think they'll be okay because of all the different items that we're gonna go over soon. But yeah, I don't know if this was like the best nerf. It's okay. It's going into the next season, especially with all those item changes. You don't want to change anybody drastically, so hopefully they will nerf Bellona and Chiron if they are overperforming still. Hopefully. This is high-res though. Guan Yu, they increased his base movement speed to 365 to 375, which is awesome, cool. And then they fixed the bug, weird, where if Kepi revives him in the middle of his ult, then he could still have it. So that's kind of cool. I wish, I kind of want to try that now. Anyway, Hades, all they did was classify him as a mage. They didn't even change any scaling on him like they did Nemesis when she went from warrior to assassin. So whatever, I don't know. I guess that's okay. I honestly would have changed his scaling, I think, just to make him more of a mage. Scaling for his abilities and scaling on his stats, but I guess whatever. It's probably better if he has Guardian stats anyway, because he wants to be a little more tanky since he's always up in the front lines anyway. Whatever. Kali, this is really good. I don't know if she'll be back in the meta. In the meta. But it's a really, really good change. She now heals 80% of her maximum health on kills and 15% of her health on assists. So it's not too bad if a Kali misses a kill. She doesn't last hit properly on an enemy. It's not as big a penalty, but you still want to get the kills, obviously. But it'll be much better on her. It's kind of like having like a mail renewal on you, kind of. So that's good. And then increase the gold bonus to 30%. So I guess that's on when she kills the marked target or whatever. Kepri, I don't know why they keep doing I don't know why they keep nerfing him, but I guess, well, I do. Kefri's still good even with all the nerfs every patch. The damage reduction thing is definitely the biggest thing. Like 30% damage reduction, that's really insane. So I guess it's good that they nerfed it down to 25% and 5% at rank 1. Yeah, definitely, like, I would not pick Kepri up in a casual game, because he's not with all his stats and stuff. He's not a carry at all, so that's another reason not to pick him up. In competitive play, obviously, he's a great support. Odin, I guess they're doing this with all warriors. Okay, maybe not, unless he already had 375. So they increased his movement speed again to 375. and thankfully, more of a quality of life change, but now Odin can freely move through the ring of his ultimate, which is great. And the duration is increased to 6 seconds. So that's okay, that's cool. That's great, I'm glad. That'll help him out. I don't know if we'll see him in competitive play still. Maybe he's more of a niche pick. Like if the enemy team has just a bunch of gods with no escapes, it's a really good item. So Nemesis, so they changed her passive. It used to be that it would steal protections or something like that and magical power or something, but instead it just reduces their physical and magical power by 4%, max 4 stacks, and then increases her own physical power by 4. So 4 stacks of reducing physical and magical power, and then 4 stacks for her own physical power, which is great. And then they reduced the cooldown from her ultimate from 90 to 70 seconds. I don't think it was her ultimate that needed a nerf or a cooldown reduction, but hey, that's great. That's cool. That'd be nice to see Nemesis again in competitive play, especially against gods that are very slow, don't have escapes or whatever. So that's good. Maybe we can see her again in competitive play. That'd be nice. Serket, they reduced her movement speed down to 370. I didn't even know it was at 380, but that's crazy. 380. And they're finally increasing their cooldowns. Yeah, I don't mind this, because I don't mind them not touching the damage, because she's supposed to be a highly mobile, bursty assassin. But yeah, everyone definitely is going to be happy with the cooldown increase. It's going to make it so she's not as safe as she was before in Season 2. Soul, only one nerf right now. It really should be a little bit more, especially with all the items that I'm going to talk about next video. But her Stellar Burst, I think that's her 3. It doesn't slow enemies anymore, which is good because now she can't confirm damage as well on her other abilities, which she could before in Season 2. So that's great. That's a good nerf. Hopefully they nerf her a little bit more in the future. Unless they do something about those items. Thor, they buffed they nerfed his physical power buff. Whenever there's like 3 gods around him, or like a god around him, he would get an increased power. So 15 to 10, that's okay, that's nice. And then Tectonic Rift is now 17 seconds at all ranks, so that's cool. Ooh, I'm excited for this one. I love Mana. Mana's cool. We saw him a lot in Season 1 and pre-Season 1, back when it was still beta. So they increased his movement speed to 380, so that's great. 5 over than Guan Yu and Odin, so that's cool. And they increased the radius damage of his ultimate from 12 to 16, even better. And so I don't know if this is gonna make him really, really good. It's definitely a great buff. I hope to see him more in the meta, because he's a pretty fun god. He has decent CC, but just turning into a big baby is was one of my favorite things back in beta. Anyway, let's go on to Jing Chen. Jing Chen's still pretty good. They adjusted his cooldown for the Furious Roar. I think that's his 1 to 14 seconds at all ranks, so that's okay. Nerfing his wave clear or whatever. And I think they keep also reducing or nerfing Jing Chen too, like each patch. I don't know. I'll have to look at other patches, but look at that. They reduced his hook slam as 2. The axe and slam damage doesn't do that much, so I guess he was overperforming, and he's definitely overperforming in the solo lane. And then they reduced the cooldown from 14 to 15. I think they meant they increased the cooldown, but whatever. And then Amir, just a general bug fix. Okay, and that's it for the god changes. Pretty good god changes this round. Hopefully, we'll see more buffs. We'll see a couple buffs to certain gods, like maybe Chang'e, or maybe a little more to Artemis. Not to where she's, it negates her cons, but just because I like Artemis. I'd like to see her more in the meta, and hopefully to Bellona too, because she's just been rampant through Season 2 ever since she's been released. So, yep, if you guys enjoyed the video, then great, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Are you ready?